the Harvard Graduate School of Education, working at the nexus of practice, policy, and research.
The trip was an extraordinary conglomeration of amazing sights and sounds and food, and it was a fantastic, enjoyable experience, interspersed with extremely potent emotional lows. We saw things that were really terrible.
The trip completely exceeded any expectations that I could have ever had. I was really surprised that New Orleans was such a ghost town in certain areas. People have just abandoned their homes. Entire communities are just gone.
I wasn't in America when Katrina happened. I was still back in England, and I watched the footage of that terrible tragedy from home and was deeply affected by it. That stuck with me strongly. And I knew that when I came down to study here that I would take an opportunity, if I got one, to go down to New Orleans.
I really had no idea what to expect when before I got there, and it happened all so quickly. I signed up 2 weeks before the group went.
Down to New Orleans for a week in the spring break, and we basically did a bunch of different sort of service work. We rebuilt houses and cleaned up graffiti and filled holes on baseball pitches and other stuff like that to try and help out the people of New Orleans.
Did I like cleaning it? I didn't mind it so much. Well, I think that leadership is service.
I think the culture at the Ed School really promotes an attitude where service is something that is seen as a good thing to do.
Service is really about humbling yourself and filling in the gaps as needed.
In the rubble of one of these destroyed houses, someone had made a small sculpture out of pieces of rock, and on each one was painted a word, and the first one had I, and the second one got, and the third one hope. And we stood around the impromptu sculpture which said I got hope, and took a photo of it, and it was an extremely profound moment because it felt like this was a small expression of a community sense that even though this had occurred, and even though in many ways these people had been abandoned, they still had a sense of strength. And the people that we met while we were down there did have a sense that they could achieve a regeneration of those communities. And I was very, very privileged to be among people with that sort of drive.
This trip, in addition to what I learned all year at the Ed School, has just been a transformative experience for me.